Party people, what's going on? This is Samaj Marsh. I'm the founder of BlueDeathValley.com, and I want to welcome everybody back to another special episode of Inside the Valley, the podcast that's devoted to relentless coverage of A&T football. Of course, I got my two co-hosts here to help me out. First up, former A&T wide receiver and a Greensboro native, my man Dougie Fresh Brown. Dougie, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride for real. Hey, Craig, you missed me. Hey, Craig, me and Doug was like Eli and Peyton Manning last week for the Delaware game. Man. We were watching the game and talking on the phone, cussing at each other, and it was going crazy. we need to find a way to do that. Hey, Doug, we need to find a way to do that for like all the games, at least all the away games, because they kept me a little bit sane.
We need to do
Yeah.
Maybe we need to do a show. We need to do a show while the game is going on.
While the game is going on. Yep. And of course, the man in the middle, he always talks facts, not speaking riddle. Long-time A&T insider, beat writer on BlueDeathValley.com for over 2 decades, the current president of the Greensboro chapter of the AAF, and my right-hand man, Mr. Craig Turner. What's going on, Craig? How you doing, man?
Hey, Aggie Pride. What's going on, guys? Back for another week. Back home this weekend. Should be a pretty good ball game. Should be a really good game. I'm looking for an A&T victory this week.
Yeah, I know you've been kind of tripping about that. You said this is going to be the one that gets us off.
I've been feeling it. Yeah,
you've been feeling this one, right? So look here, guys. We had it's kind of a weird game because we lost 21-6, right? To Delaware. They were ranked number 8 in the country, and it was bad weather conditions, like we told you on this show last week. And I think that played an impact with the passing game for both teams. I think we had like 31 yards passing again, but they only had like 57 or something. So it kind of cancels each other out. But the deciding factor obviously was that we committed 3 turnovers and we had a punt block. So we ended up losing that game. I think it was 21-6, I want to say. And I guess a lot of people still said we gave a good fight. We played good on defense. We held our own for, outside of, those self-inflicted wounds. And it kind of was, left us a little bit of optimism going forward. But this week, guys, we got a quick turnaround because now we face another CAA opponent. And this is the Richmond Spiders. And you guys might remember we played them in the playoffs a couple years back. On the Broadway, didn't go too well for us, but we actually kind of wanted to reach out to our opponent this week, like we did a couple weeks ago with Delaware. We went behind enemy lines, and we got an expert on all things Richmond Spider. So help me welcome to the show, Mr. Bob Black, who's kind of like the broadcasting voice of the Spiders. Mr. Black, how you doing, sir?
Hello, fellas. How are you? I feel like I should go get my Spider baseball cap and put it on here. For a couple of reasons.
Hey, we match, man. We match.
One, to hide the ball, and two, there you go. See, Craig, I should have done that. I didn't get that memo. I'm going to go get my red Spider baseball cap. How are you, fellas?
Hey, fellas, great to hear. Hey, Bob. Thank you so much for joining the show on short notice. We always try to get guests from the other side to give us perspective. And this is so cool. This is our first official season in the CAA, the Coastal Athletic Association now. And we're just kind of getting our sea legs, right? We're trying to, we got like a young roster, a new coaching staff, and we're facing some teams who already have some national acclaim to them. So what is your feeling about this matchup as you guys come into Greensboro?
Well, I'm excited about it because I've been doing this for a long time, so there aren't too many venues that I haven't been to before, and this is actually one of them. So I'm looking for a little description, scouting report on where we're coming and the hospitality we're going to get down there. I've heard such great things about it. So that's first and foremost. I'm looking forward to going to a new facility because at this stage of the game, I don't go to too many new facilities because I've been doing this so long. we're actually playing pretty well. You're getting us at a tough time. We have won, 4 of our last 5. We beat a nationally ranked team on the road last week, also in the rain. I know you guys had that at Delaware. We had kind of a rain game up there at Rhode Island as well. So I think our guys are feeling pretty good to beat a nationally ranked team on the road and in the conference. So there's a little bit of an unknown this week because aside from that playoff game that, none of these guys were a part of, obviously, they're going into this a little bit cold, first ever meeting with you guys.
Right. And Dougie, man, you and I were talking before. We looked at the schedule for Richmond, and Bob, I gotta tell you, it's kind of been an enigma so far. Early on, you lost some games that I guess you were expected to win. You played Morgan State in the opener, and you lost to them somehow. Then you also lost to Hampton a couple weeks ago. So what in those losses? I know you also lost. You had a Power 5 game too, but in those 2 early losses, what was the problem? What was the issue you think?
Well, I think offensively was more the problem in the Morgan State game. And then, honestly, fellas, a little bit of everything in the Hampton game. I think the Hampton game, we can swallow that one a little bit. At least it's a conference opponent. Yeah. They're doing pretty well, all of that. The Morgan State game, I think, is going to haunt this team for a while. That was a season opener, a home opener. Had never lost a home opener in our stadium at Robbins Stadium in almost 15 years now. Had never lost to Morgan State. I think they learned a very painful but valuable lesson about, not thinking you're better than the opponent, not thinking you can just roll the ball out and win the game because you're in the CAA, that kind of thing. So I think they learned a valuable lesson, but it did cost them. I think that game haunts this team. And hopefully now it helps this team to realize, hey, every week we've got to go out with our A game. So part of the problem certainly was offensively, and the quarterback situation has been a problem all year for us. It was not for the Morgan State game. We had our guy, our starter was there. But by the time we got to Hampton, we were on this quarterback carousel that has seen us start 4 different guys in 4 straight games, with 3 of them being their first ever collegiate start. So it's been a learning curve big time for particularly the offense. Defense has been pretty solid all year.
Right. And Dougie, so check this out, man. I think you guys played started a true freshman quarterback, Camden Coleman, right?
Yep.
He's a North Carolina kid. I know he had a breakout performance when y'all played Maine. I think he had like 6 touchdown passes. He went off in that game. So And Doug, you can tell them we got a true freshman quarterback here in Greensboro. So that's going to be a similar parallel, right?
Yeah, we heard those similarities right there, just with the quarterback carousel and playing those young guys. So, that's proof in the pudding that, I'll have this saying, Bob, it's always not who you play, it's when you play them. So sounds like you guys kind of got caught sleeping early on and with Morgan State. But, I always tell these guys on the podcast, you need that experience sometimes just to get your season going and iron out some of the kinks. But sounds like you guys are able to bounce back a little bit. And we were hoping to bounce back a little bit from stumbling coming off the Delaware game as well. But I'm interested to see the young North Carolina quarterback coming home and seeing what he can do against our defense. We've been making strides week by week. And we owe the Richmond Spiders, right, from the playoff game. So it'll be a big home game for us, only our second CAA home game this year. So hopefully the environment will live up to the hype. We got the students coming back this week. So, these guys know I don't want to steal the show, but we'll definitely go ahead and extend the tailgate invite to you like we do most of our CAA guests. So.
Nice. I love that. I love the tailgate idea for sure. Yeah. The one little asterisk I would put next to our true freshman quarterback, he was actually with us in the spring. He had gone to a prep school in last fall and graduated at the holiday break. So he was signed, sealed, and delivered and started taking classes at Richmond in the spring and went through spring practice. So he did have that under his belt. He wasn't like your normal true freshman that comes in the summertime. So he's a semester ahead, and he has mentioned it several times, how helpful that was to him, both football, academically, culturally, learning what college is all about. So that gave him a little bit of a leg up, and I think it's starting to pay some dividends for him and the team right now.
Yeah, Camden Coleman, and he's a guy from I think Glenn High School. I think he was outside of Winston. So yeah, I don't know if we were if there was any type of recruiting crossfire from A&T and you guys for him, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he might have a little chip on his shoulder when he comes to Greensboro. But but look here, Bob, this is not your first rodeo. You've been with Richmond since what, 83, 84?
Yeah, 40 years.
40
Yeah.
years. And so you remember the playoff game when we faced you guys, but more importantly, you remember that 2008 year for Richmond when everything came to fruition and you won a FCS national championship. And I think there was a Vincent Brown on your staff as a coach. So just real quick, just tell me, what was that run like? That's what we envision when we close our eyes at A&T now. We think one day we might get that chance to go to an FCS national championship. What was that like to actually live it?
Well, Vincent Brown and Charles Bankins were both on that staff. So your running backs coach was on our staff then, as was Coach Brown, and just thrilled to see him as a head coach. He was with us for a couple of years, and of course he's coming from William and Mary, so he certainly knows what the CAA is all about. That was a magical year in 2008, and I'll tell you this, it almost was a disastrous year that never got that far. We played James Madison about mid-season, and they beat us on a punt return on the last play of regulation when all we had to do was punt the ball out of bounds and it would have gone to overtime. And we punted it right to their guy. I'll never forget him. Scotty McGee was the guy's name. I'm never going to forget his name. Yeah. And he returned the punt for a touchdown on the last play of the game, and we lost. And it was like at home, and it was like the most devastating moment of all time. So a few times this broadcaster went silent, because as soon as he crossed the goal line, I just dropped my head and I stopped talking. My analyst had to pick it up for me because I was stunned, shocked, and silenced. Now, the good news of that story is we never lost again. After that JMU game, we ran the table in the regular season, including an overtime win at William & Mary, and then ran through the playoffs. So it had a happy ending, even though there was some misery there in midseason. But that was obviously a magical time, galvanized our fan base, did wonders for recruiting. Our head coach now, Russ Huseman, was the defensive coordinator on that team. Literally the very next day, when the Spiders flew back to Richmond with the national championship, he stayed in Chattanooga, which is his alma mater, interviewed for and accepted the Chattanooga head coaching job the day after he won the national championship at Richmond. So it was a magical year and a magical story.
Well, Craig, like I was talking to you before we started, one thing I did this, a couple weeks ago, and this is the mistake I ever made. I went online. I was looking at Delaware University, and I went to their staff director. I was trying to find a number of somebody, and I saw all the names of their support staff, and it was just it kept on going. Then I went to Richmond. And you guys just had the same way. There's so many people. Did that national championship, was that the spark that kind of set your athletic department going forward to where it is today? Because you guys have grown by leaps and bounds now, and you're like one of the top mid-majors, right?
Well, it certainly did. I think it helped increase budget, personnel, all of that. I don't think we're quite at Delaware's level, to be honest with you. I think they have significantly more folks involved with their program than we do, but I understand what you're saying. And then the other part of it is we began building an on-campus facility as soon as that national championship was won. For 81 years, we played our home games at a city stadium about 8 miles away from campus. And that was a tough thing. That was a detriment to the program. It made it hard to get students there on game day. It wasn't the most aesthetically pleasing stadium in the world. And winning that national championship kind of jump-started us building on campus. And now we have a beautiful on-campus facility. So we have the facility, the resources, the budget, the personnel are in place. And it's why seasons like last year have kind of raised the bar, where we're able to get to the postseason, win a game. And now kind of the expectation is we get back there pretty much on a consistent basis, which has put us in a position of slim margin of error for this season right now because of the couple of losses that you referenced earlier to Morgan State and to Hampton.
So how many teams, if you had to get your magic ball, how many teams do you think are going to go to the playoffs from the CAA this year?
Well, I think you guys know the history, and it's multiple teams every year, and normally it's 4 or 5 teams. I'm going to go 3 or 4 this year. I think the increased size of this conference probably doesn't necessarily help, because you lose some of the matchups that you are used to playing that help you with your, whatever they call it at the FCS level, RPI, whatever the computer formula is. But just for example, we don't play Delaware, New Hampshire, or Villanova this year. Now, that might give us a better path to win a conference championship, perhaps, maybe not. We're going to find out. Hasn't actually come to fruition yet. But it also doesn't afford us the opportunity to win those games to help our at-large stance, if that makes any sense.
Right. So, and Craig, you can jump in here too if you have any questions. But I just look at your athletic department. The teams like the other schools like Delaware and New Hampshire, teams like that. And I wonder, do you see yourself being the big fish in a small pond for a couple more years, or is that FBS? Are there rumors amongst your alumni base about following Georgia State, Appalachian State, and teams like that and making that jump? Where you guys at right now?
I think there are those rumors for a school like Delaware. I do not think they are. In fact, I will tell you they are not for a school like Richmond. We are a small private university. We have about 3,200 students. Our football facility seats about 7,800. It's not getting any bigger. We have no preconceived notions of going to the FBS level. Now, if the landscape of college football changes dramatically in the next 5 years, which we certainly know it can, and it has in the past, then kind of, all rules are out the window. But for now, we are very comfortable where we are in the FCS and competing against these like schools. So I don't think there is any preconceived notion or rumor that Richmond's going anywhere.
There you go. So Craig, it seems like, this could be a place where, not everyone's just playing musical chairs. This could play, now that we're in the CAA, Craig, this could be a place where we can just, put our anchor down here and have some fun.
Yeah, I think so. You were talking about Richmond winning the national championship and it changed the dynamics of the program. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, winning does cure a lot of ills as far as your fan base and when it comes to the people who hold the purse strings as to the future of your football program. Is that not correct?
That is correct. And that is also a reason I think last year was as important as it was to get back to the postseason. Coach Huseman hadn't gotten one of his teams there at Richmond. He had been very successful in doing it at Chattanooga until last year. So I do think, the weight of the world was off their shoulders a little bit, getting there last year, winning 9 games, getting to the second round. But now the expectation, you guys know it. Now the expectation is, do it again for me. What have you done for me lately? Get back there again. And that's where this team is at this year, still zeroed in on that goal.
Yeah. And so, Bob, will you be doing the play-by-play for your radio station again this weekend?
I will. I'll be down there. Looking forward to it. Like I said, haven't been there before, so don't know much about the facility or what we're coming to. So I'm excited about that.
And you also host a daily radio show in the Richmond area for the ESPN affiliate in Richmond, the Sports Huddle, and you just talk sports every day. So boy, I tell you, man, like we do it this once a week, and this is we got our wives is going crazy talking about what you're doing. So what is it like to every day wake up and have to do another show and hot topics and all that stuff? What is that grind like?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a grind at time, but look, we're all sports fans, so it's kind of like you're doing your job all day long. You're watching the highlights, you're watching Sports Center, you're watching games on TV. So from that perspective, it's kind of just living the life, but you got to block out that time. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Actually, 4 to 6 every afternoon, and it is on the flagship station for Richmond, so it kind of goes hand in hand. But it is a general sports talk show. Believe me, it's a lot more talk about the Washington Commanders and UVA and Virginia Tech and James Madison than it is about the Richmond Spiders. We have our own shows for the Spiders. So I kind of keep it much more general-based sports talk, and we're in an area where I would say the Commanders, Virginia Tech are probably our most popular teams.
Gotcha. And so we'll hopefully, like you said, I'll reach out to you after get off here, and I'll shoot you our contact information. Dougie has his big, huge tailgate right outside of the locker room, and you can't miss it. So if you get a chance to finish up early, come out there. We got anything you want to eat, any cold beverage you drink, we'll have that ready for you. And I also want to congratulate you because I read your bio, and I know you're big time broadcasting guy. You were named the Virginia Sports Broadcaster of the Year 4 times. So that wasn't a fluke. You're a 4-time winner of the Sports Broadcaster of the Year in the state of Virginia. And also, A&T probably has the #1 journalism program on the planet, right? But you graduated from the
Wait a minute now.
Now listen, you graduated from the #2. That's nothing to stick at. You graduated from Syracuse, the famous Syracuse University. And you're talking about
we're pretty cocky about that now. We don't finish second to nobody now. Come on now.
Hey, give me some names, man. Drop some names of your alumni from Syracuse from that university.
Well, the one that was a little bit before me is Bob Costas,
right,
who is still going strong. A classmate of mine, although he was actually a couple of years behind me, was Sean McDonough, who does college football, is now doing actually hockey for ESPN, did the Red Sox for a while. And then a little bit behind both of us was Mike Tirico. Of course, one of the voices of NFL football was also there. So if I'm going to name drop, those would probably be the first ones that would come to mind. But we've got a lot of them. You'll cross paths with others, I'm sure, along the way. I mean, names that you guys probably may not even know, who've been doing a guy by the name of Dan Horde, who's been doing University of Cincinnati games and the Cincinnati Bengals for probably 15 years now. So, those kind of people are spread out all throughout the industry. We, all kidding aside, we're very proud of the people that have come out of Syracuse. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, hey, with A&T, we got Craig Turner, so that's something.
Yeah,
we got Craig Turner.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Oh, hey, so Bob, Hey, Bob, this has been a blast. I'm looking forward to this matchup. Like I said, so many similarities. We both starting young quarterbacks. We both, you guys are 4-3 on the season now, and we're trying to get some momentum. What's one thing that you are worried about? If I had to give you my little truth serum, I give everybody a truth serum. What's one thing you're worried about in this matchup that when you watch the film of A&T that you say, I hope this doesn't come to fruition on Saturday? What's one thing that kind of keeps you up at night?
Well, we know how well you run the ball, so I do think that's an issue to make sure we don't get worn down. We feel pretty good about our defensive line. They're veteran guys. They're knock on wood healthy. So I do feel pretty good about that. But we're coming off a game where they threw the ball like 56 times last week against us. So we had a pass rush 56 times. So I don't know how they're reacting coming out of that to kind of what's going to be the opposite, I think. This week where we'll see the run a lot more than the pass.
I can almost guarantee you won't see 56 passes this week.
Yeah. We didn't think that was coming last week either, and there we were rushing the quarterback 56 times. So hopefully they get their wind back about them for this week. So I know I sound a little bit like a coach, but in the trenches, that side, and then offensively, we need to keep our offensive line, keeping our quarterback clean because. Like your guy, he's young and he's still learning, and he's made some freshman mistakes. He's thrown some interceptions on balls he never should have thrown. So that would be my second concern. So I think our defensive line against your rush, and then making sure our quarterback makes the right decisions.
Gotcha. Well, that's why they play the game. It's was it 1 o'clock kickoff this weekend, guys?
Love that too. Yeah, 1 o'clock.
Yep.
1 o'clock.
Love those road games at 1 o'clock.
And hopefully the students were on fall break last home game, so hopefully they're back here and ready to be loud and
give us the full experience. We want the full experience first time down there.
Yeah.
Bob, you want the full experience while you're in the press box. You make sure you go next door and get to know Donald Ware and Mr. Swan, and also the handsome one, Billy Covington. He will
Okay.
definitely give you experience that you won't forget up in the press box. He knows all the ins and outs of it. Like yourself, some of those gentlemen have been around a good while and love what they do and are very passionate about bringing it to the fans. So definitely make sure you get a chance to holler at those guys, man. Good guy.
I will do that. I actually had a loyal guy, calls all the time, who told me, knew something about North Carolina A&T and told me to look for those guys. Exactly what you just said. So
Good deal.
he knows a lot about the HBCUs, so I trust him. He's a big Virginia Union guy in our area. And he said, you're going to get the experience down there at North Carolina A&T and look up their radio guys. So you're right on, Doug. I'm going to do it.
You know what? So Bob, can I pick up the ESPN Richmond channel on like iHeartRadio? Can I do it like on the internet? Can I pick it up?
Yeah, you can. ESPNRichmond.com will do it. So you can do it right off of our website. There's a listen live button right there.
All right.
So
yes. I'm gonna put the link in the chat after this video, and then I want all the Blue Death Valley A&T fans next week to call to your station. Win, lose, and draw. We have to either eat crow or do a little bragging. And
I like that.
We'll call to your station. We'll talk about this game, man.
And I promise I'll take the calls whether Richmond wins or loses.
Okay.
I'll take them. I'll take my medicine if Richmond loses, and I'll definitely take them if Richmond wins. That's a great idea. I love that.
Good deal. Fun, man.
All right, so Mr. Bob Black, one of the best guys in the industry, been there a long time at Richmond, and he's seen a lot of Spider victories in his day. But game is at 1:00 this Saturday, Richmond and A&T. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. You've been so generous, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate it.
All right, you take care.
Appreciate it.
Oh, man, Bob Black. That's a cool guy, man.
He is, man. Yeah, but I couldn't go on without giving our guys a shout out, man. He's gonna get a kick out of Mr. Covington, the handsome one. That's my guy, man. Shout out Mr. Covington.
Yeah. But you know what, Craig? I gotta say, man, so far our CAA counterparts have been super hospitable and so gracious. You know, I think I reached out to the guy from Delaware same day. He was like, hell yeah, Joe, I'll come to your show. You know, same with Bob, man. I reached out to him yesterday and he emailed me back, no problem, whatever you need. And I tell you, man, the smart people understand it. The only people we got problems getting on the show are who the people we have problems getting on the show? Say it, Doug. Say it, Dougie. The dumb people. the smart folks jump on it, man. I'm telling you. Everybody who, they see what we're trying to do here and they want to be a part of it. But that was cool. That was Mr. Bob Black with Richmond. It's gonna be a good game, man. We got a local guy on the other side, 6'3" guy from Clemens, North Carolina. See how that works out. But so Craig, like we were saying, we lost 21-6 last week to Delaware, number 18, number 8th ranked team in the country.
Right.
We had 3 turnovers and we had a punt that was blocked. You can't do that. Basically, we're not good enough to give the ball away and still have a chance, right? We almost. Will you disagree? Excuse me.
Choking. No, I'm. Oh, you were listening to bad. I didn't know if you were done. Listen to bad.
We also outside the turnovers and the block kick, we also had a relapse because we thought we had gotten over this after last year. We had 2 big unsportsmanlike conduct penalties that came and just bit us at the wrong time and end up costing us 7 points probably. And it's something that ate up Doug. That's I know the guy in your crawl. Because you have gone on record on this show for the last month almost, and you say it's unselfish. If you want to celebrate with who?
Who you celebrate with? Teammates, with your teammates. You never go wrong celebrating with your teammates, all right? Now, I don't mean celebrating with your teammates at midfield, after you make a pick. That's not exactly what I had in mind. I mean, maybe celebrating with the guy that tipped the pass and made it possible for you to get the interception. That's always a good start. Or those defensive linemen that applied some pressure, made the quarterback hold the ball an extra count. But I'm just joking, man. Those guys know football and they watch a lot of football. They probably watch too much football and see too much on TV and they emulate it. But, I always tell guys, Kev, Aaron, all those good folks behind the camera, they will find you. They got some great technology, great cameras.
Don't worry about
they
that.
Can shoot you from here to the moon. All right, they're gonna find you. Now I know it was a great shot. It's a great look now, but listen, you cannot do things like that. They cost your team. You know, I'm not calling the young man selfish. It was a selfish play, right?
So explain what happened.
It was stupid.
Oh, well, you know, we made a play. We made a heck of a play. But you know, you defended the pass. You got an interception, and if when you're on defense, that's pretty much what you're supposed to do, right? You're out there to defend, right? So we made a play. We did not score a touchdown. We made an interception, and again, heck of a play. But we didn't think before we celebrated, and we kind of did an all-out sprint to the middle of the field. When, you know, again, we're saying celebrate with your teammates are following you. They're trying to get to you and celebrate with you. I heard Booker was just as excited about the turnover, but you know, they ended up at midfield, and that led to a slamming of the football, or a kind of planting of the football. I won't say it was a slam. He didn't spike it, just planted the football to the likes of which I hadn't seen since 2003. Shout out my boys from 2003. I got the ring on tonight, but when young Terry T. Jones planted the flag in the middle of the field.
Flag gate with Bethune-Cookman, the Daytona Beach. I remember that.
Now, granted, that was after the game, and after a big win, huge emotional win that actually led to a post-game brawl that included bass drums and everything else that went flying around, and some injured players, right? We had some guys that go down from that, right? But, you know, the bottom line is you cannot do things, number one, that coaches coaching you not to do. We know we're focusing on discipline, but things that cost your team, right? I always say on this show that football bounces funny ways, right? And that football karma will come back and haunt you. It may not get you. It may cost your team, or it may cost your teammate. And so once we made that play, you know, I was shaking my head like, man, I hope we pull it off. But generally, things don't go well for you. You know, it's coming back to get you.
They don't like that.
They don't like that. So, you know, we were able to move the ball. Just 2 snaps, we're back down at the goal line. And miraculously, the ball just slips out of Kevin White, who's been handling footballs for I don't know how long, but it happened to fall out. And I didn't blame it on Kevin White.
Yeah, he reached at the goal line. The ball went through. They said it went through the end zone for a touchback. So we didn't score that opportunity.
We had no type of, the line judge was in the way, and we couldn't get a TV shot and no replay. Yeah. But you know, I hate that, you know, but then again, all I could say when the fumble happened was, you know, that's what we get. That's what we deserve. Those things happen when you make those kind of mistakes. And, you know, it's too hard to win a football game. And let's not forget, we are in the business of trying to win a football game. So when you put the team and a win at the forefront of your mind and not celebrating, right? Not celebrating. Like we will still, you can do all the celebrating you want after the win, right? We get the win. That's when you go to midfield, right? So, you know, lesson learned. That kid's an awesome football player, and he came back. You know, and you know, I was a proponent of, hey, I want to see him back out there. I just didn't want to see him on the next drive. Like I believe we got to have him talking to. We got to address some things, and whether it was a substitution or a different unit, you know, he wasn't out there the next drive, so there was a coaching point there. But when he got back out there, that kid made back-to-back plays. Still celebrating, but he made some great plays to kind of make up for the mistake. And you know, we were still in the ball game. But kudos to those guys, man. I thought Saturday was one of the first times that we, you know, things didn't go the way that we wanted to, but we continued to show fight, and you could tell in our guys that it bothered us, right? The losing bothered us, the outcome of the game bothered us, and that lets me know that our kids believe they could win too, right? When you're down there towards the end of the game, and there's not much more you can do, and it's kind of dwindling down, and you know, we had some things transpire at the end of the game with one of the guys getting hurt, and so that kind of changes the dynamics. And our guys wanted it bad, but you know, sometimes there's nothing else you can do when that clock's ticking down, and it's hard. It's hard just to accept that, and that takes a certain level of discipline and being able to have some restraint, right? Because those guys are, you know, to the winner goes the spoils of victory, right? So those guys are, you know they got it done, and they're chirping at you too. And I saw our guys kind of do some things that was out of character, kind of chirping back, and you know, we got a guy poked him in the eye, whatever the case was, or threw a punch, and those things can hurt you when you get down the road and you're in a championship game, right? I'll never forget when we had a terrible call against Curtis Deloach heading into the game, our championship game against Hampton, 2003. And Deloach had to sit the first half of the game, right? It was a terrible call, terrible personal foul call, but those things can happen to you even when you're doing things right. So you got to try extra hard to make sure they don't happen to you, so they don't cost you not only in a game that you lose, but in a big game, right? Fortunately, my boy T-Bone stepped in there and had a great first half in that Hampton game, and we got the dub. But it's those things happen all the time, man. You got to be there in the moment and be able to make good decisions, man.
But like you say, the margin, based on our roster and some of the limitations, the margin for error is so thin. And Craig, like I say, we almost have to play a perfect game against some of the top teams. So being that's the case, I looked around. I reached out this week to somebody who can help us out when it comes to playing perfect. Someone who knows a little bit about perfection, right? And I was looking around campus and I said, hold on a second. We do have an expert in being perfect in the moment. And so tonight I want you to help me welcome to the show for the first time ever, a member of A&T's celebrated bowling team. And she just rolled a perfect 300 game this past weekend. I hope I don't mispronounce her last name, but Miss Lauren Tomaszewski. Lauren, did I get that close?
It's Tomaszewski.
Tomaszewski.
There you go.
I tried to tell him, Lauren. He didn't believe me.
Okay, I don't pronounce it right because I hate when people mispronounce my name. So Tomaszewski?
Yep, Tomaszewski.
Tomaszewski. I got it down. So Lauren, first of all, thank you so much. It is our honor for you to grace our crazy little podcast. But you are the woman of the hour because all throughout Aggie land, people have been talking about this 300 game that you rolled in the tournament last week in Louisiana. First of all, let's just go straight to it, okay? Because that had to take so much mental toughness to stay in the moment. What was the experience like? And just, frame by frame, just tell me how that transpired.
Hold on, I have to. Let me mute real quick.
Okay.
Tomaszewski taking care of business. I don't know. I don't know that. Yeah.
Sorry, my cat was bothering me. Just kind of with it this weekend, I found a line in the practice for that first day, for that first game, and I just kind of kept going with it. Really didn't think too much of it that I had. I knew I had quite a bit in a row, but I really didn't try to focus on it. I just kind of kept, okay, what do I need to do to throw it good? What can I do just to, keep the momentum for us to continue to lead the tournament.
So if you do 3 in a row, see, I'm not a big bowler aficionado. I used to, when me and my wife were dating, we used to go to the bowling alley a lot. That's all I could afford pretty much at the time. So, and I know if you get 3 in a row, it's called a turkey, right?
Yeah.
Three strikes in a row is a turkey. So when you get when you get to like 3 or 4 or 5, does everyone start taking notice? Is everyone kind of crowding around you? When does the angst kind of build up? Like, she might be onto something. When's like the whole room sort of pay attention?
I think it's more when you get the front like 7 or front 8.
Okay.
Is when everybody kind of is like looking, going, ooh, like what, what's kind of, is she gonna do it? Is she not? Because you never know. Like, you could throw a great shot in pocket 7-10, like I did in one of our matches. Like, I couldn't have thrown it any better when you pocket 7-10. So when you have 3 or 4 in a row, like that's great. But you also kind of keep in mind that anything really could happen. You just have to continue to throw the best shots that you can.
So mentally, are you thinking like just mechanics, like just my form? How do you stay laser focused? Because we got a football team right now, and we make a lot of mistakes, and we gotta find some way mentally to get out of these mistakes, especially our quarterbacks. Quarterback is kind of like a mechanic repetition thing. So from a mental aspect, after like the 7th frame, what are you telling yourself? What's going on in that head?
We do a lot of mental training. We work with a sports psychologist who comes out and works with us. And then, we read a lot of mental books, but also just like for me, I don't really try not to think about my score. I just focus, a lot of bowling is physical, but it's also bowling is way more mental because you have to not let the bad shots get to you, not let the negativity you're feeling, if you are feeling any. So you just have to, I rely on my teammates a lot too, help keep you in the moment, present and grounded. We're not a very big team. We only have 9 girls this year, but all 9 of us were there for each other day in, day out, every frame, so it's very much also a family because our coaches are also there for us, and our coaches help keep us kind of in there in that moment that we're in and help, if we need to adjust or, if we need just a reminder of, hey, this is what makes, focus on this if you need to, focus on what makes you good.
Gotcha.
Well, Lauren, I'm sorry. Question. Now, you speaking of family. Now, I had a chance to meet you last year at the Thanksgiving athletes dinner type of deal. And I'm not just becoming a fan today. I've been a longtime fan, not only of you, but other Aggie bowlers. One of my mentors, Mr. Vernell Stallings, who is also a huge supporter of Aggie bowling. Getting a chance to see you all in person and also through the Facebook live stream, I understand that is a wonderful tool for you all, for those who haven't had a chance to watch bowling. But one of the things I thought was really cool from last year is after we had a chance to meet, your family actually had a chance to, I had a chance to meet them and talk to them, and they expressed appreciation for looking out for you while you were down here in Greensboro and you were so far away from home that they were concerned about you getting the Thanksgiving meal. So, I want you to know that we appreciate you being part of the Aggie family. What you're doing out there in the lanes is something else, but we want to continue to support you guys. I know that you mentioned that you all don't have a home locker room type of deal. How does that work? Where does you guys home bowling facility or home lanes? What do you call home?
So we practice mostly at a Triad Lanes here in Greensboro.
Triad, okay.
We used to.
Is that on Wendover? That's on Wendover.
Yes.
Okay.
But we also practice at AMF All Star off of, I think it's off of Holden. Yeah. So we also practiced over there. And last year that's actually where our home tournament was at All Star. So that's where we primarily do. This year our home tournament though will be at Triad.
Okay, so
what sport would you most closely relate to bowling? Because when I see bowling now, especially team bowling, it's the atmosphere and the coach is almost like women's softball. Like, it's exciting, it's high five. How do you bowl a strike and then come back and settle yourself down when everybody else is yelling your name and there's chants, and then you're in such close proximity to your opponents and your rivals? There's like 3 teams standing there, everybody's kind of on top of each other. Like, to me, I would go crazy. I don't even know.
For me, I really don't. Like, I'm very even keeled. If you watch me, I don't usually get too, high or too low. A lot of people say I have ice in my veins just because I don't really let that, get to me. But I feel a lot of it though is just a lot of us have a lot of really good experience, not only with collegiate bowling, but youth bowling. Youth bowling is a really, really big sport. You have Saturday morning leagues. There's high school bowling, which, I had a great high school bowling experience with Illinois high school bowling, being in Southern Illinois. And so, that kind of helped prepare me. And also just, a lot of us growing up, if there was a collegiate tournament by us, we would go watch and kind of see what it was like. But also there's a really big tournament for youth in the summer called Junior Gold. And it's kind of more like they do it more for, you can try out, like kind of as like a tryout or qualifying for USBC Junior Team USA. So, I mean, you have people all there everywhere, you're bowling 4 games a day. There's a ton of kids, ton of parents and spectators. So, I mean, there's just a lot of different ways that we've done it. But to really get into with collegiate bowling, you don't really know what to expect until you've either spectated a tournament or you've been to a tournament as a player.
And so you say the tournaments it's going to be held in Greensboro at one of the local lanes. And you said
yes, our home tournament is in February, and it will be at Triad Lanes.
At Triad Lanes. Okay, so Aggie Nation, you know what we gotta do. And so can you like go crazy? Like, can we like bring signs like WWE? Can we like dress up in costume? Like how wild can we get if we want to get wild?
Really doesn't get too wild. I mean, no cowbells, no like.
Oh, Craig, no cowbells.
I mean,
hey man, we got that.
A lot of the noise really is just like cheering. Like it's just, so.
Okay, so we'll try to do some natural, noise. We'll bring it ourselves. But yeah, so I just like I say, I am kind of in awe though of just how much composure and just mental toughness you guys have, because I'm pretty sure that being nationally ranked, you guys like fourth in the nation right now?
We're ranked fourth in the preseason poll, yes.
Fourth in the entire nation, not just the CAA.
We're up there with Vanderbilt and Nebraska and
wow, the heavy hitters.
So I mean, we compete against them almost at every tournament. So I mean, we are one of the best teams in the country.
Real quick, Craig, what's your highest score? Have you broken 200 before, Craig? Craig, be honest.
The highest score I've ever bought in my life. My life was 121. That's as good as it gets.
Dougie Fresh, come on.
That's as good as it gets.
You're an athlete, so tell me the truth. Your high score.
I'm somewhere a little bit above Craig. I ain't gonna put my numbers out there. I still got some tournaments to win. I have nothing on Lauren. I don't have my own ball. I got to work on an Aggie ball. That'd be nice if I could get me an Aggie bowling ball. But I don't have that eye of the tiger or that Terminator in me like Lauren has. Now she's cool. She's ice in her veins. But when you see her, when she gets that ball up here and she gets that look and she's got that ice, almost like the Terminator had that little. That would be a cool graphic if somebody could get that going. I don't know. You might already have a nickname. I'm not sure, but I think that's fitting the Terminator. I'm very confident when you step up to knock those pins down. But
Lauren,
all the way from Big Ten country too. So you got to tell us how you ended up here in Aggie land before you go as well.
Yeah. So you're from Illinois. So how'd you get to Greensboro? What's that story like?
So I've known the head coach here for a couple of years before I was even in collegiate bowling. Just from seeing, I grew up in Southern Illinois in a town called O'Fallon, just on the Illinois side of St. Louis. So that's about 30 minutes from downtown St. Louis. Most people don't know where I'm from, so I usually say that. I went to a previous school my freshman year, and just things didn't work out. So I had reached out because I had looked at A&T too while I was in high school. Finding a very a top bowling program, D1 bowling program with a school that has a great ag department and hands-on, learning with the farm and with animal science. Because I want to go on to veterinary school. So that was a very important thing to me, was to have a great, not only have a school with a great bowling team, but have a school with a great ag department. So when it was time, when I was looking for a new place, I reached out to Coach Kim and Coach Eric and did a Zoom with them. And I was actually a walk-on my first year here at A&T, and I'm very grateful for them and the athletic department, everyone, here who got me here and who took a chance on me, because I've not only grown as a player here at A&T, but also, and I am not the same person I was 4 years ago when I.
Oh, so that's a story, Dougie. That's a story right there. So the Terminator was actually a walk-on. I had no idea. You started off as a walk-on. So describe your style, because when I get to the bowling lanes, I just roll it straight. I'm one of those straight-on bowlers. I see those little dots on the lane, and I just try to get in the middle. How do you have that big hook in your form? Do you have like a big circular hook when you roll the ball? How does your balls roll?
Well, each bowling ball does its own separate different thing. So a lot of people equate it to like golf clubs, especially when we're in the airport and we have our bowling balls. Everyone asks, why do you have so many? And we kind of equate it to golf clubs because each club does its own, you have your driver and your putter and everything. So like for us, We have our spare ball, which is just pretty much a plastic ball that will go straight. So we have a better chance of getting our spares that we leave. But some bowling balls hook more than others. Some are more for the end of the day for when the lanes get really dry and kind of toasty. So it also depends on how you release the ball. There's different releases, and it's a lot of very technical things with bowling.
Okay.
Learn
So
something new
Craig,
today.
yeah, I learned something.
Yeah,
Definitely.
really.
So Craig, man, I tell you, this is probably one of the most celebrated student athletes that we've had on the show. I think she's destined for the Hall of Fame, man. Based on her credentials, been this because you've been all conference how many years since you've been here?
3. I was second team all conference, and then the last 2 years first team.
Wow.
And I'm also a 2-time NTCA All-American, the first in school history to be a first team All-American.
Say it again, Lauren.
That's
the first in
impressive
school
right
history to be a first team All-American. That's so awesome. And and you're just kind of almost extending that rich bowling legacy, because I didn't know that we had so many champions to come through A&T on that bowling lane. What would you compare it to? So it's like A&T, a blue blood when it comes to the bowling circuit. Are we that known now?
We're very well known in the bowling community. All the coaches, it's not that big. I mean, the sport is growing each and every year. I mean, there's new college programs being developed and brought in every year from every level, from NAIA to, D2, D3, and D1. But for us, when we walk in the building, everyone's like, "Oh, yep, A&T's here." Because we go in, we know that it's ours, that we, are there. We have the talent, we have had the hard work that we've done to continue to be a top 5 team in the country. So I mean, yeah, we are up there with especially with recruiting. We're up there with the Vanderbilts and the Nebraskas of the world.
Awesome.
For those who don't know, you all are the last competitive sports team to win a MEAC title, if I'm not mistaken.
3 in a row.
Right. So, those fans who are screaming MEAC, there you go. We're still MEAC champs.
Yes, sir.
I like to point that out, man.
Good deal. Hey, Craig, anything else before we let this young lady go? Anything you want?
Yeah, Lauren. After graduation, I know you say you were looking forward to going to veterinary school. Have you thought about any in terms of taking on bowling as a profession on a professional level?
I'm hopefully gonna try to go pro this upcoming summer after graduation. Just because before life gets busy and veterinary school, just kind of go dip my feet in the. I mean, I bowled a couple of pro events already as an amateur, so I know what to expect. But I'm, hopefully, go out there and do some work.
Awesome. All right, so Lauren T, the Terminator. That's what Doug calls you. It's stuck. So that's your official name. Usually, Lauren. Usually, I'm a person who comes up with the great nicknames, but Doug kind of jumped the gun. He feels like he's kind of prima donna. He's trying to take over the show. So he gave you the Terminator. So we're gonna run with that. Lauren, I don't want to mess your last name up again. We're gonna say Lauren T, the Terminator. And so when's your next local local tournament that we can catch and support you guys? Is it the one in February, or you have anything before then?
So our next tournament is in Houston for the Sam Houston tournament.
Oh, that's my hometown. Okay.
So we will be there November 2nd through the 4th or 5th, 2nd through 3rd through the 5th. But if you want to come out and support us when we're here, we will be here for the Stallings Invitational, February 23rd to the 25th at Triad Lanes. There's no admission, so you can come watch.
Oh, I like that. I like free 99. That's
and
nice.
MEAC championships will be in Raleigh at Buffalo Lanes North in March.
Okay, so we got we're gonna figure this out because I want to try to get a big mass group at the Triad tournament, the Stallings Classic. I want us to come out and force for that and see you guys just go ahead and get another championship. So
Any support we get is great. We get a lot of we've had a lot of fans come and that. So if you can make it, we appreciate it so much.
Well, we'll do. All right. So Doug, anything else you got?
Nothing. We just look forward to supporting you in the future. Continue to blaze trails, and I don't know who booked that tournament from the 3rd to the 5th of November. I mean, you're gonna miss Jiho, but we definitely
we got to work on that. Let's work on that next year.
Next time, but we'll definitely be following you from home. And again, keep up the good work. We're supporting you, and you're doing a great job of representing not only your family but the Aggie brand. So, thank you.
All right, Lauren, Miss 300. Thank you. And hopefully, is there any video we can go to online? Has anybody recorded any of
one of my teammates did. Athletics has a couple of the video posted on Instagram and I believe Facebook on Aggie Athletics. So and
we'll
also I think our Instagram page posted it as well.
Okay, so we'll go out
one
there
more
and
question.
link that. Yeah.
We failed to ask you before you shut it down. Was that your first 300 game?
That was only my second sanctioned 300. My first one was when I was a senior in high school at a high school tournament.
It's funny you say that because I had an unsanctioned 300. I was like 9 years old. We had like the bumper things in the lane, and I was going crazy. Hey, Craig, I was going to town. But that's unsanctioned. So,
I'm sure you did.
Hey, that's how they get you, unsanctioned. Well, so Lauren, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. We're definitely going to come out there and check you out in person. I have to do a live remote or something like that because I bet that place is going to get wild. When those balls start rolling and you hear the pins crashing and the people going crazy, I bet that's going to be an electric atmosphere. We're definitely going to try to get you out there. But until then, thank you so much for coming out and keep on destroying those pins and winning championships for A&T. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.
Lauren T, the Terminator, man.
Good people, man.
Hey, yeah. She's and she has that eye of the tiger, that kind of calmness, but she's a killer when it comes to it.
If you hadn't tuned into one of those bowling matches, I think I tuned in just scrolling across Facebook. Man, I couldn't turn away. I'm like, oh man, I'm in there yelling and screaming and carrying on, and I was just on Facebook Live. But they get after it, man, and they don't back down from anyone. Like she said, they go toe to toe with everybody, week in and week out. And last year when they were making their run through the Nationals, listen, they had a nice following behind them. But just like all our sports teams, want to make sure they have all the support they need. I kind of put them in the group with our tennis and our track team, everybody else, man. They kind of get it done. They're not always out in the forefront, but those are the ones that when you go back and you count those MESC championships and measuring the success of our athletic department and those sorts of things, they're right there. They're responsible for it. So again, they're still kicking tail in the MEAC and taking names. So you can always have some bragging rights. I brag in every sport. We had a marbles team. I'd be bragging about our marbles team kicking somebody's tail. So that's it is what it is, Craig. We take them how we can get them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, I put the link in the chat for anybody who wants to join the show. We're about to get out of here pretty soon, but we got to talk some football, Craig, because we talked to Bob Black and he was telling us about these Richmond Spiders. So if you want to join the show real quick, it's the link is in the chat. It's on the A&T fan forum. It's also on Twitter. But Craig, after you came on here with a whole bunch of optimism, did Mr. Black deter you in any way? Do you still feel like this is going to be a chance for us to get a conference victory?
I think we had. I think it does. I think it does shape up that way. I think it's Richmond. It's a good football team. There's no question about it. They're a fairly solid defensive unit. But their offense can come and go, and they get, sometimes some games they've come out and they've really put the wood to people, like last week, had a good game where they feasted off a couple of turnovers early in that game. They got them out to a quick lead, and they never gave it up. But they are also subject to make a lot of mistakes. Anytime you go with a freshman quarterback,
Yep. We know.
and you throw the ball a whole bunch like they do, you can give it up. The Coleman kid is he's a good looking athlete, 6'3", about 220, but just like Bob said, he sometimes tends to force things, and if you get some pressure on him, I think you can create some situations defensively that works to our advantage. Because last week I thought we did an exceptional job, especially defending against the deep ball against Delaware. Delaware was trying to go over the top numerous times, and our DBs were right where they needed to be, and played it perfectly. So that defense is getting a lot better on the back end, and despite, I don't really look at yardage when I'm looking at defensive stats. I look at them too, but I'm looking at that third down efficiency stat. That's going to tell me more about what that defense is capable of doing and how they're playing versus how many yards they're giving up. I think everybody gets caught up in, well, they ran for 300 yards, or they ran for 250, or they ran for 400, or whatever. But I'm looking at third down efficiency, and when you can hold somebody like where were we last week? We were like
2 for 11.
They were 2 for 11.
Yeah,
we 2 for 11.
Yeah, so we forcing 11 times up. We're forcing them to give the ball up 9 times. That's where you win a football game.
That's a great stat.
You're getting off the field.
That's a great stat. We did it against Elon too, right?
0-13. Yeah. They were 0-13 on third down. So that's not an anomaly, right? We're doing some things to get guys off the field on third down. That's a wonderful sign, right? We're doing it with what some people say is an undersized D-line or missing some playmakers. So, Coach talks about stacking success and those week-to-week wins and those small victories that, everybody says there's no moral victories, but, like you said, we didn't get the ball thrown over our head this week, right? We had a punt block, but guess what? We didn't give up a touchdown. We had a kid turn around, shot out 99 because that kid turned around and went and made a touchdown-saving tackle, right? And I also like to give credit to the defensive staff for once we made that touchdown-saving tackle, and they have the ball inside our 3-yard lines. They didn't have any timeouts, right? They only a limited number of plays they could run. We didn't bail them out by calling the timeout, right? They ran a play. They didn't have any success, had to throw it away on first down, second down, when they were pretty much limited with options. They decided to try to run it up in there quick and sneak it in there with the running back, and we stopped them. And the time expired, and, they egg on their face. They weren't able to get any points in the game, and that kind of continued to make the game feel like it was, our game to win or our game to lose. But for the most part, we were in that game the whole time. It even felt like we were winning the game, oddly enough, because of how we moved the ball and the chances and opportunities we had to score. So, those are good signs from week to week. We just got to break through, and hopefully it'll come, from our offense, because I think if we can just help our defense out just a little bit. We did move the ball, which that was an improvement as well. You guys talked about the lack of passing attack that they were able to put on.
They had like 57 yards passing, and we had like 31. So
man, we shut them down, and that you can always
tell away the big play.
Yeah, you can tell what the job you did sometimes by just watching the press conference and hearing how the other coach speaks about the game. Sometimes they give you credit and say that's a heck of a ball club that we played, and hats off to A&T. But when you really know is when the other coach goes in the press conference and does everything he can not to give you credit on your performance, right? One of the first statements this guy made in the press conference was, on third, I think you see how much we struggled, weren't able to pass the ball, but we ran for a lot of yards. Then he made the comment that we got the interception because the ball hit off his player's chest, right? Not that Karan Prunty made a heck of a play, tipped the ball up, and our guy made a great catch. But no, the rain caused the ball to slip off our guy's chest. And so the reporters in the press conference made sure that the next question they asked him they, hey, it looked like A&T did some things to kind of slow you down. So they held his feet to the fire on that, and you could just tell by his demeanor that he was disappointed in that they weren't able to cover, because he tried to score on the last couple plays of the game so they could cover the point spread, just like old Trent Dilfer down at UAB. But we'll let it slide. I've definitely got them marked on the list, and we're going to come back around and holler at those guys. But our kids played outstanding. They played to the end. It definitely meant something to them. And, they're hungry. They're gnawing at the bit. And I expect those guys to come out and kind of keep some of that momentum going next week.
Yeah. So we got a guest, man. Before we get out of here, we got to bring in our friend of the show, Mr. Aggie 94.
There he is.
What's going on, man?
9-4.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
I see that cane behind you. That cane strategically placed behind you. I see it. I see what you're working with over there big time. Hey,
that's what they call a show cane.
That's the show cane. I got you.
How we doing, gentlemen?
Man, I'm living a dream.
Okay.
So listen here, man. We had a conversation on A&T fan forum this week. Was it time to consider? Now we have to do it, but just consider a 2-quarterback system. And my thought process was, we got this young upstart true freshman, Kevin White Jr., who we really like, right? Like, I mean, he has done nothing but get better, I think, week in, week out. However, my only thing is, and Doug, we talked about this during the game on the phone, he's still taking a lot of hits, right? he's a mobile quarterback, and he's still getting about 2 or 3 shots a game where he's kind of like, he's going to get up. And also, I still don't know if I want to just close the book on Eli Brickhandler without one more look. Like, I want to find out, is there anything that we can extract from that? We still have the 94. Check this out. That's just going to sound like I'm just, exaggerating. We have statistically the worst passing offense in the country. We have the worst total offense in the nation. What do we have to lose by trying something little? What do you think?
Ride the young kid and just let him and just let him go.
Just go, Kevin White.
This look, we're building for the future, and we don't need to be thinking of 5 minutes ahead. We need to be thinking, 5 years ahead. I just think at this point we need to build for the future.
Well, listen, you say build for the future. We got a true freshman in Kevin White, right? We got a red shirt freshman in Eli Brickhandler. So
Can I keep it a buck with you?
You can. This is this side of the valley, man. So you can't keep it a buck. What?
Brickhandler and Yeager are going to transfer at the end of the season. I predict.
Man, you predict. And see, and Craig, Doug, I hear those people say that. They say Baby Hook might put his name in whatever. I just hate to have commodities, right, that we don't utilize. You look at this offense, we need a spark, right? I don't disagree with giving Kevin White chances to develop and grow, but I just, at the same time, I would hate for Eli Brickhandler or Zach Yeager or Baby Hook to transfer, and then they, set the world on fire somewhere else. We're like, oh shit, we had that under our belt. At least let me see.
But Eli
Brickhandler got a game in a quarter, and you already done with him. You already seen enough in one game in the quarter.
We can't have it both ways. I mean, we just stated that we've got the worst passing attack
in the country,
in all of FCS.
Yes.
Wouldn't it behoove us to continue trying to work, with who we, see as our starting quarterback, with what receivers we have on the team right now to try to build something? We still got 5 games left in the season right now. We can still, try to build something. I don't see us, running around trying to tinker with, who's going to be our backup quarterback. I would hope that is being determined in practice.
But see, this is where you understand it. I'm not saying trying to find out the backup quarterback. I'm saying, is there a way we can utilize another quarterback in the game? Like Florida, when Florida won national championship, they had Chris Leak from Charlotte, and they had Tim Tebow. And Tim Tebow knew that Chris Leak was going to start, but at some point there was going to be a package for his skill set. He could come in there and it helped them, that change of pace. Both guys bought in. Both guys rooted for each other when they went off the field, and it helped them keep the other opposing team on their toes because you had two dynamic guys.
And what you had back at that time was the top 5 team in the country. I mean, exactly. We are not that. We are not that.
You had personnel to offset any shortcomings you may have had at the quarterback position. Florida was a juggernaut even before Tim Tebow and Leak got there. So you can't really equate equivalency there. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not the same situation.
Hey, Dougie, let me ask you a question. Was there something significant in your life that happened in the year 2003? Is there anything significant that happened in the year 2003?
Let me think. Might have been those 03 boys winning that championship. First championship since 1999, and I don't think we won another championship until Broadway was able to get it rolling a little bit. So, yeah, my guys got it done. We're pretty much standing on the mountain alone for a long time until those guys got back on the winning trail. So, yeah.
So you won a conference championship in 2003. And just for my distinguished guest at the lower left-hand corner, can you tell me how many quarterbacks did y'all play that year?
Played 3, actually. Played 3.
Oh,
Marshall Glenn, Rico Watkins, and Randall Rankins.
Stop the presses. Hold on, because this can't work. This cannot be. There's no way you can have success if you play more than one quarterback. So in 2003, you played. Say it again, Doug Brown.
That's not the argument. That's not the argument. That's not
totally different setup and situation. We had injuries. I think 2 of the guys at some point, had an injury. One of which it took the guy out for the rest of the season. So, that's kind of what happens. Next guy in, next man up, step up type of deal. But the starter initially was Marshall Glenn, and he was substituted out, and I think Rico came in and gave us a late spark. Well, Rico and Randall Rankins came in and gave us a late spark against Southern, right? And then the season is a long season, and we say that a lot, but things happen, and one week you got a guy here, next week a guy gets knocked out of Bethune-Cookman in a brawl, and you got to play another quarterback, but those guys really persevered, and they were the true definition of like a quarterback room, right? They rooted each other on, and it was next man up. And so you that's not necessarily how you draw it up or how you want it to go, right? Especially kind of back then, everybody was pretty much rocking with one quarterback, unless you felt like you had a guy behind them that was going to come up and step up and kind of take over, kind of like when Bethune had Patel Troutman and Alan Suber, right? Patel Troutman was still doing his thing. And, coach is about ready to push him out the door to get Alan Suber in, but, he was that good. So,
and correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but in that championship season, had a lot of upperclassmen on the team too, didn't we?
Yeah, we had some guys, man. We had a good mix of young guys and old guys because I think Hayes had just brought in my freshman class, which was like, we had 60 plus guys between the guys that were out there and the guys that had prop. And we had a lot of talent. We just lacked the discipline, right? We lost some close ball games because of discipline. And so that's why I talk so much about discipline, because I've seen what it can do when you just infuse a little bit into your program, right? Doing those little things, celebrating as a team, all the things that we were doing that was causing losing football, we were able to flip the switch, kind of in one season and win a championship. And Coach Hayes even predicted that team was going to be successful because he knew kind of the talent we had in Stockton. So it doesn't always turn out that way, but we had a senior laden team, and those guys were leaders. They were some of those guys were still holdovers from like 99. They were young guys in 99 or just kind of getting to school. So we had that. And then we had a bunch of dogs, as they say, a bunch of dogs that could go out and get it done. So it still takes a lot to win a championship. You need so many things to go right for you, and you need other people to make some mistakes, but it's about capitalizing, taking advantage of that moment when you got it and not shooting yourself in the foot. So
if our passing game wasn't so terrible, Samaj, I could probably get behind, a couple of series here or there, but
you said it though. He said game because we had some drops last game. You can't put that on quarterback play.
That is the impetus for me is because we're so terrible. I just don't want to be like did we leave any stone unturned? Like I want to make sure that if we finish with the worst passing offense in the country, right? And I just want to make sure that was nothing like, man, you had this guy right here on the bench who didn't only got in like a quarter in a game in the quarter. Like you could have maybe got something better. I'm not saying bench Kevin White. I want Kevin White is the future, but I think if obviously,
can we look at our receivers? I mean, can we start there? I mean, if we want to start, experimenting.
Okay, let's talk about Dougie's boys, okay? Because Doug is always talking about the receivers. He's been quiet for the whole month because he ain't said nothing about super freaks or nothing. So right now, I don't think we got. Oh boy, I think our top receiver on the season is
me.
Amonte. Happy birthday, Amonte. Happy birthday, Amonte.
Amonte Jones. How many receptions do you think he has on a year without looking? 94.
We're gonna do it like that. How many games played does he have? Okay, he was out last week. I don't know that he's played since the Norfolk game. So let's keep that.
I'm gonna say 3.
Yeah, 5.
We don't win the Norfolk game without his.
So
we need all 5 of them.
Our top receiver has 5 receptions on the year. Okay, so Jakari Caldwell, who was kind of penciled in as the X receiver, the number 1 guy on the outside. Guess how many receptions Jakari Caldwell has this year? 94.
1
games, 2. He's got 2.
He has 2 receptions. That's our number 1 receiver. The fastest man. The fastest man on the planet.
He's got 2 touchdowns.
Tamon Cook. How many receptions does Tamon Cook have? He played all 6 games. 94. So don't let Doug sway you. Give me a guess.
2 at the most.
4.
Tamon Cook, unless Brian Holloway got this wrong, Tamon Cook has 1 reception this season in 6 games.
Last weekend.
Tamon Cook has 1 more reception than Craig Turner. He has 1 more reception on the season than Craig Turner in 6 games.
Touchdowns. He got 2 touchdowns. All right. He caught 2 kickoffs. So, all right.
Bro,
he caught 2 kickoffs at least.
Hey, listen. You're a big Nate Poole guy, man. Give me, talk me off the ledge because I don't know how does Chris at first Chris Young, I would say he got to be on the first team moving as soon as the clock hits 0 after the last game of the year, right? But how does Nate Poole keep his job in 94? Please tell me.
I gotta admit, I'm with you on that one. I'm not
advocating. I want somebody just to convince me that I like Nate Poole.
I can't. And again, we're not in the locker room and we're not in the coach's room when they're looking at it or whatnot. But
right.
I'm having a hard time myself, trying to figure out why we're so inept offensively when it comes to the passing game. Somebody's got to be looked at. I mean, that's just where I stand.
Hey, I like Coach Poole, the first guy from the staff to come up to me at Coach Brown's press conference and introduce himself. Seems like a great gentleman. And I've actually talked to players offline and like former players, former wide receivers, jump ball, you guys. They all speak highly of Coach Poole. They say he knows his stuff. He can add some tools to your toolbox if you're a receiver. And like I say, they speak highly of Coach Poole. I just don't understand how it's going to be hard for Coach Brown to end the season to say, okay, our receivers can't catch a cold. I don't know what happened, but what can you do, Dougie?
I mean, we're talking about the most dependent position on the football field, right? I need not only a guy to deliver me the football, right, if I want to have some success, but I need guys to block. I need so much things have to go right just for me to touch a ball. And then I'm only getting a few amount of targets a game, right? Especially where we are right now. You get 1 or 2 opportunities. That might be all you get.
Somebody in the chat, I'm glad somebody in the chat was paying attention. Because when Doug starts to filibuster, we need Kermit Jimerson.
I got on here and said we had drops. We had plenty of drops.
Thank you, Mr. Kermit. Thank you. It's not easy being green, brother.
They've been across the board. That it's not as easy to kind of develop some continuity when you basically catching footballs from 3 guys, or 4 guys at this point. But I told you guys just like last year when we had those drops in the Duke game that it takes some time and you got to get some reps. Pressure's a real thing, right? The worse we do and the longer we stay down at the bottom and worse in the country, the more pressure's on those guys, right? So when we get on here, part of what we're doing, we add a little more pressure on top of things as well. But, I just try to encourage those guys to relax. You've been catching football and playing football all your life since you've been in the backyard catching a Nerf ball. Sometimes that ball can be in the air a long time. And I had a stretch where, I was struggling to catch the football, but, I had to break it down. I had a little wrist injury, probably recovering from a concussion, needed contacts, all the above. But you just got to find a way to relax and just bring the ball in. Now, Saturday, I hate that that's going to go on the record too because, it was cold, wet, and rainy. And those three things, give me cold, give me wet. Don't give me cold and wet, right, if I'm a receiver. Because that makes it tough. And again, that's probably the first cold that we've had. Yeah. But that's tough, man. That's tough. We had something that literally went right through our hands, or as you said on Twitter, our hooves. I mean, that was a low blow, man. To say my guys got hooves, man. You don't make it to this level without having a skill set to be able to catch a football.
They ain't got hands. They got hooves.
Well, you don't need hands, man. You can be a body catcher. Michael Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson, those guys are, big body receivers who talk a lot about just bringing it in. I catch with everything from my elbow down and my chest, whatever I need to secure the football. And sometimes when you're struggling, that's what you got to do.
That might be it, man.
Whatever it takes to bring it in. But
we need to start catching the ball for elbows, man. That might be the best thing. Hey,
go back to the fundies, man.
But look, the good news is 94. The good news is Craig Turner's predicting us the victory. So tell me, Craig, what's the recipe? If we have outlined all the issues with the passing game and receivers, tell me what's going to happen on Saturday. That's going to be a bright spot to actually help us get this W. What do you envision being the turnaround?
Win the battle of turnovers.
Okay.
I think Richmond is a good football team, but they have shown at times
to give it up.
Yeah, to give it up in some situations. So we'll need to be solid defensively, and when I say solid defensively, we have to tackle. They are really good. They are really good with run after the catch. If you looked at their film from last week, the receivers broke. They use their tight ends. The receivers and they're especially out on the perimeter. And the running backs broke a lot of tackles. So we got to tackle well. We did a better job of tackling, I thought, last week, but it could be better. But we definitely have got to tackle better. We got to be sure.
And set the edge too.
Because they're going to get a lot of. Yeah, they're gonna throw a lot of isolation plays. They're gonna try to get us in a lot of one-on-one situations. So we're gonna have to be able to tackle in the open field and not miss a tackle and the guy's going 30, 40 yards or taking it to the house. Because that's the type of offense that they run. The other thing, what we have to do offensively, we've got to be able to. I've said this before. We have got to do a much better job in the short game, in the short passing game. And when I say short passing game, we have to be able to take that money shot at that 8 to 11 yard shots out there on the outside or the slants to the middle. The high percentage passes, we have to complete those. We have to catch the football. There will have opportunities. We will have opportunities to do that against this team, but we have got to be able to convert that short yardage passing game to keep their linebackers from loading up on that box. Because everybody we're gonna play from here on out is going to be geared to stop the run. But those 8 to 12 yard passes are going to be there all day long, but we have to be able to recognize. Our quarterback's going to have to be able to recognize the coverage, recognize where the receivers are going to have to understand where the open spots are, and we got to get the ball off on time. Can't wait on it. I watched so much college football last weekend. and I watched some pro games on Sunday, and every quarterback that was having difficulty throwing the football or completing passes, one thing they all had in common: they were throwing the ball late.
They were late.
They were throwing it late. They were trying to wait till you got to have the wherewithal, the guts to go ahead and put it in there before the guy makes his turn. Because when he turns, that's when he's open. Yeah. When he turns, that ball should be in flight. That ball should be in flight coming to him. When he turns, that's the first thing he should see is that ball.
And see,
9 times out of 10, when you turn that ball over in the passing game, or you're having a hard time completing a pass like we are, is because our quarterbacks are not trusting the receivers, and the receivers aren't trusting the quarterback. And they break off routes. When the play breaks down, our guys are not. I watch the receivers. The teams, most good receiver cores, when they see a play break down, they run to the open side of the field to get into the line of vision of the quarterback, so he have something to throw to. Our guys are breaking off patterns. Yeah, we've been doing that all year. If we run a set play, if it's not there, our guys they go limp. Nobody moves to try to get themselves into the field of vision or create a space for that quarterback to get rid of the ball. So, it's a lot of little things. And a lot of that is because of, again, I keep saying it, and I'll say it till the end of the year, a lot of it has to do with the fact that we are extremely green in a lot of places that really determine football games. So, there isn't a lot of margin for error. But I think all these teams that we're playing have somewhat of a similar situation, either offensively or defensively, things that we can exploit. We just have to execute. We just got to execute. We gotta, not overthink it. We don't have to overthink it, but we got to be mindful of what's of down and distance in situations.
We got to finish every play, every quarter, and ultimately the game. We got to finish.
Yeah.
894. I'm hearing that also that this is going to be high school band. I think BJ was saying it's going to be high school band week. So I guess they're going to try to invite some local band members from around the area. So that might help with the attendance. You think what's the
day too?
Is what is it?
It's Ag Day. Yeah, it's Ag Day. They're gonna have a Pick Masters. Yeah, they're having the Pick Masters competition out at the stadium this weekend. So that should be real interesting.
Ag Day. So you get in half price of a small calf or something? What was that?
No, so they're actually going to have some live animals. Those good folks out at the farm will be out there putting a full day.
Like a petting zoo type of thing?
Yeah, well, maybe some exhibits. I don't know exactly what animals they're bringing out, but cool. Anytime our ag department is involved, just like Lauren said, it's going to be a big deal. So I know it should be a full production. Hopefully we get to get all those cows that are putting off all that new milk, right? They hooking it up on the farm. We got the creamery coming, so hopefully we can put some good stuff out for that. I don't know who else will be out there, but we got a little bit of everything on the farm. But
what's the weather? What's the weather like? What's the weather called? What's the forecast?
Man, sunny, a little bit sunny, 60s, and unfortunately breezy.
Yeah,
so
a lot of wind.
Cut them down, man.
Hey, listen, like I told y'all before, when we did our preview of Delaware, I said the bad weather conditions gives us a punching chance because we can't anything in the air is not our friend right now.
Oh man, I'm thinking about my tailgate tent, man. I'm good with the football game. That's football. I'm talking about trying to battle that wind, man.
But so we'll figure it out for Dougie. We'll strap some stuff down.
Gotta get some spikes, man. Gotta get to some of those spikes, some of those tent spikes.
Those straight line winds win the blue lot, man. When they coming in off of 29 or Sullivan, man, you gotta have it positioned just right. So now we got some stakes, man. We bringing more weight with us this time, so this we can hold it down. Or we might not put it up at all, man. If it's a nice sunny day, I need all the vitamin D and that I can absorb right here in the winter. So hopefully
1
it'll be a
o'clock. 1 o'clock kickoff.
nice day.
I'm glad we get back to having an early kickoff, so now I can actually do something after the game. 94. Any last word, man? Any last thoughts for this weekend?
We just have to stay the course. I am interested in finding out, who might have to sit because of academic issues. I did see that in the form. I don't know if anybody has any.
At 94, where'd you see it at? Which form did you see it at?
In the form.
Was it public or private?
Private.
So you talk about it. Is this a public or private broadcast?
We'll talk about it offline.
Get out of here, man. I swear.
Hey.
When I talk about people who can't hold water, that's a picture in the dictionary of Bobby Boucher over there, the water boy. I tell you. Hey,
Janaz already told you what the deal was. Janaz said, "Hey, take care of your business, coach. Don't play about academics." And he's held kids to that, and I'm happy that, like Janaz said, man, he's grateful for it, right? He said he's a better kid, better football player, better student, better Aggie for it. So, we're gonna trust the process. Trust the process. Hey, but I got some good news. We're gonna throw a touchdown pass. Since you called my guys out, one of the birthday boys, Amante, Tamar had a birthday this week.
Okay.
And we're gonna get in the box. That's what we do. We're gonna get in the box. So look out for one of those guys, and look out for my boy Karan Prunty, man. I believe in the law of averages, man. He's due for one. He's due for interception. It's coming.
All right. That's it. So let's go. Let's wrap up the show like this. Everybody give a positive, bold prediction. 94. Give me something that you're gonna predict. A bold prediction on Saturday that's gonna happen. Something good.
We're gonna score 2 offensive touchdowns through the air.
Oh, aerial. 2 passing touchdowns. Okay, that might get us out of the basement. Craig, give me something, man. You already predicted a win, but give me something else.
It's going to be surprising how we win. I'll put it that way. It's going to surprise. It's going to surprise a lot of people how a win comes to fruition this week.
All right, Dougie.
I'll leave it at that.
Man, I guess I already gave mine, man. I'm with 94. We're gonna get in that box. One hooker, crook, tight end, receiver, Fumblerooski, annexation of Puerto Rico. Somebody's gonna catch a touchdown pass on the Aggie offense, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be going towards the band, right in that area, so we can truly celebrate in the horseshoe down there with the whole, all the high school bands and everything else. And Karan Prunty, right? We did what we did last week without our starting cornerback, Aaron Harris, which, again, that's just another feather in our cap that we were able to do it with different personnel. But this week, Karan Prunty, who is very hungry, he's ready to get his hands on the ball. He showed you last week when he made that great play and got the tip, but now he's ready to put a couple of interceptions in that column to go along with the great stellar play he's had all season long. So look for him to get in Blue Def, not only to get an interception or a turnover, for a defensive score.
That was mine, Dougie. That was gonna be mine. I was gonna say that this weekend, this Saturday, we're gonna get a pick 6. I believe we're gonna catch old boy from down the road from Glenn High School. We're gonna catch him slipping. And we're gonna step in front of it, and unlike the UAB game, we're gonna hold on to this one. We're gonna high step.
We're gonna go undefeated against the state of Virginia this year. All right, so this is a part of that process.
Richmond, then we got Hampton next week. Next week. Okay.
All right, so it's all right there on the table for us, and I would take that. I will take that, especially because we got so many Virginia guys in the recruiting battles, but we got a lot of birthday boys, man. We're ready to celebrate. Cesar Monaro's birthday is today, I believe. So that's a lot of guys, man. So we're going to celebrate, man. We're going to get it done. We're going to celebrate Aggie Stadium on a nice day. And, after we get that dub, we'll be back there in the blue lot.
Yeah. So next week is we got the road trip to Hampton for that homecoming. That's going to be on national TV. We talked about that. And Craig, I know your bus is full, right? The bus trip for the Hampton trip is already full.
Yeah,
gotcha.
We're good.
Right, and then after that we come back and it's Jiho, and you know what that's all about. We got to do something special for Jiho. But let's go ahead and let's wrap this one up and focus on Saturday against the Richmond Spiders. For our guest tonight, Bob Black is I'm talking about. If you look at his resume, his bio. he's done it all, man. He's been since the early '80s, and he's a big time guy in the broadcasting industry. He's not small potatoes. And of course, we had the incredible Stone Cold Terminator, Miss Lady T, Mrs. 300. She came on here and talked about that mental toughness it takes to be perfect in the moment. And she helps us get that bowling program to be the top 5. I think we're ranked 4 in the nation right now, and we're gonna try to get that national championship this year. But so for Lady T, Bob Black, Aggie 94, Craig Turner, and my main man Doug Brown, I am Samaj Marsh. It's been another great episode of Inside the Valley. See you next week. Peace. Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.